is happening in the world today, you know, so current affairs of today and how that is impacting, first of all, yourself as an individual, what the future of coaching might look like as a result of what's happening. And just on a couple of the things that you've just touched on, there may be solutions. But first of all, you know, let's hear from you. You know, so coaching during the COVID-19 pandemic, and in addition, we have the racial upheavals, which are also impacting globally. And of course, we're going to be moving into a phase where there's going to be quite a deal of personal loss due to COVID. So how is this then, from your point of view, you know, what might be the strengths? Let's do a SWOT on it. What might be the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats from COVID itself, and then also in terms of the racial upheaval?
Yeah. Maybe I may not put it in that exact sequence of strengths, weaknesses.
That is fine. You don't have
but first thing that comes to mind is the whole thing of what really gets me excited is the question of how much of what we thought we could not do without is now being revealed to us as actually you can do without these things. These are extras. These are nice to haves. These are things that you can actually. Maybe let's just go into politics for 1 second. Politicians actually can have productive meetings online without having to fly from Joburg to Cape Town and spend exorbitant amounts of money flying between the two cities, booking fancy accommodation for themselves, for their security guards and so on, in blue lights brigade, and all those things. It can happen. Now we know. Now we know it can happen that you can have all these big annual events and not spend all this big money that they tend to spend when hosting these events. It can happen. Yep. So I'm excited about that, right? That's a new revelation. Same happens in businesses, in churches, also in families. There's a whole lot of new revelations on things that we thought we could not do without, but now we know we can, right? There are opportunities, obviously, that all of that brings.
You know, from a coaching point of view, where then might there be, you know, where might coaching offer opportunities to organizations, and, you know, what opportunities might there then be within the impacts on companies who are having to, they think that they may only have the option of retrenching? Does coaching have a role?
Yeah, so in terms of coaching, for me, my approach is that approach that says, who do you think you have been leaving out of these discussions when there's been a chance for you to invite people onto the table? Who have you been leaving out? And why? And what do you think those people could potentially bring to the negotiation table? What is it? Because there's always, in my view, there's always something missing in our conversations. So for as long as we keep inviting the same people, they'll continue bringing the same type of flavor into the discussions. And therefore that limits the prospects of us coming up with something broad, something deep, something wide, something new.
Well, yeah, different solutions.
In the true process of cross-pollination opens up the space much bigger than what we've always been trying to do. We say, what if, for instance, even the DG himself may not really know exactly what the company needs? So bosses don't always have all the answers, right? But we need to bring other people in. Trade unions don't always speak for only the what is the best interest of the workers, right? There's a whole lot of stuff that trade unions could potentially miss out on. The executives also could be limited. There's other voices that are left out. And therefore, if you really want something substantial, there's more people that you need to bring in.
Yeah. I feel that is one of the roles that we have as coaches, is to, you know, to introduce the notion that your own employees may have a solution that would benefit all, but you don't consult them. So
they're never, they're never consulted.
What opens up as an opportunity if organizations were to actually consult with their employees who none want to lose their jobs. So I'm pretty sure that they can be quite creative and cost effective in finding solutions that would preserve more.
Exactly. But then there's a skill and an art in doing that, which is where we come in. Because we can't just say to them, there, talk to each other. There might be fireworks, there might be blood on the walls. You know, I'm sorry to use such graphic language like that, but the reality is, when you're bringing in people that have been alienated from each other, they may not even have the skill of how to talk to each other when now you are sitting under one roof on the same table and discussing critical matters about the direction of the company, you know. And therefore, our work as coaches is to then help both parties, if it's two, or help all parties, all stakeholders, to learn the art and the skill of getting into meaningful conversations with each other, and start bridging the gap between the executive worker divide that exists in most organizations. There's a big distance between the factory floor worker and the CEO.
That is definitely one of the roles that coaches in particular can play in facilitating, you know, difficult conversations, especially where people have opposing views.
COVID-19 has revealed how much there is a lack of different sets of tools in the toolbox. So in your leadership toolbox, what else do you have? So maybe all along you've been a manager, you've been an executive, and you've been hiding behind that MBA that you keep boasting about and all these nice certificates hanging on your wall, and you're thinking, so we think, wow, this guy knows what he's doing. You know, he's been an executive for 5 years, 20 years, whatever the case may be. But this is now revealing that actually, in all the stuff that we think you know, or we think you're capable of handling, in your toolbox, maybe there's only 1 or 2 tools that you know how to use. The rest, either you don't know how to use them, or you don't even have those tools that you think you have. And it shows how you then handle meetings and so on.
Yeah, and so on that, you know, there were 2 tools, 1 or 2 tools, just very succinctly, there were 2 tools. What would they be?
One of the tools right now that's required, in my view, is the art of listening.
Yeah.
So instead of saying, I told you guys to do this. So that whole thing of thinking leadership is about telling those that you lead, you tell them what to do. That in itself is not a helpful approach to things. What if maybe we turn it around and we say, let us equip you, me as a coach coming in to equip these guys, and saying, equipping them to, first of all, create space for those that they lead to feel that they recognize and they can hear them. They recognize them and they can hear them, and their voices matter. So when they say something, when they make suggestions, or when they voice their opinions, there is a safe space for them to say what they truly want to say without running the risk of potentially losing their jobs, right? So coaching comes in, and we then look at, so on the side of leadership, they need to listen in such a way that those that want to speak will speak, and will speak honestly, openly, and regularly, right? Now, on the side of those that are being led by these guys, they also need to learn the art of speaking in such a way that the leader does not feel undermined, does not feel threatened, does not feel maybe you're trying to take over or anything of that sort. You know, so there's responsibilities both sides. It's not just the blame. So I don't want this to sound like we only blame the leaders, but the responsibility is on both sides.
Absolutely.
So learning has to happen both sides. Yeah.
It is important what you've just said, that, you know, so each have to learn skills, certain skills, and, you know, the art of listening, but also the art of speaking in a way that is non-threatening. Yeah. You know, and I think to your point, that really is, that they really are important skills in terms of the first steps, because if people are not listened to and if not heard, what we have is two people or two groups of people all talking all over each other, and nobody's actually hearing anything, and that's why then we can't we can't actually reach a solution that would possibly create win-wins for all. So they are also powerful, very powerful solutions.